The topic for tonight is sibling rivalry and if it's worth it. This is something that, to an extent, I did not have a lot of experience with. I was adopted when I was 8, and I did experience a little bit of sibling rivalry um, because the youngest of the brothers was the baby, and then here I come because he was 5 years older than me, and I took all the attention from his mom, and unfortunately, about I'd say 8 years later, she passed away suddenly from cancer. And for him, it was a intrusion. Here he is, the baby, and that was his mom, and here comes this, kid, and now I'm supposed to be his sister, and that's, I'm supposed to be part of the family, and did not realize until recently that he held this animosity toward me for years and has yet to speak to me about it. But for him, we haven't spoken in a good 30 years, all because he felt some type of way about me coming into the family. That is really honestly the only experience I personally had with being a sibling, because before that, I was an only child. But I have been around plenty of people who have brothers and sisters, and the gamut that ranges from the sibling rivalry can go from just petty things like, oh, mom likes you better, or you get away with things, to, you know, it involves addiction, drugs, and alcohol, and, well, it just completely disrupts the whole continuity of the family. I was always one that told my kids that this is your brother, and you treat each other with respect. You give each other space, but you watch each other's back, because at the end of the day, when mom and dad are gone and everybody else is gone, you only have each other. This is how I perceived it for them. This is how I raised them, because I believe that siblings should be able to count on each other, because they're the closest thing to, the immediate family beyond, the mom and the dad, or the parental units. And when I was growing up, we were always told that, blood is thicker than water, so you watch out for your family. And nowadays, it's more so of, well, if a family member is toxic, including parental units or a sibling or immediate family, if they're toxic to the point where they're a negative impact on your life, that it's okay to cut them off. So with that being said, I feel like truly something like that, a rivalry, and deciding whether it's worth it or not, is more a question that the individual would have to ask themselves, because you have to really take a look at the entire scenario. Like, is it something petty? Is it coming from a place of jealousy? Or is it validated? Not to say that a person's feelings isn't validated, but how much validity do you really claim to hold to whatever the situation is? We have to look deep within ourselves to understand if this is something that is worth losing someone that we've grown up with or that we call family. Not to say that there isn't families that certain aspects of it we might be better off without, but statistically speaking, more so than not, family is what we need to have a connection that we can't have anywhere else outside of the family. So, in wrapping up, my suggestion is that if you have a sibling rivalry with someone in your family that you've grown up with that is your sibling, and you're not sure if it's really worth keeping it to yourself or putting it out on the table and just discussing it and moving past it, think about the scenario. Think about what happened, what led up to it. Really just do some meditating on it and write pros and cons or whatever it takes to get you to the point to decide it. Once you're there, you'll have your decision. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.